Welcome back. This episode is about food and alcohol around the holidays and the full spectrum of its qualities and how it impacts us. We're going to dive in. But first, Lindsay gave me like the best Christmas gift that wasn't on the list from last episode.
It was low budget.
We asked, but like the meaning is like high budget. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
She gave me well, she knows that I'm like new to developing my relationship with God. And so I've been trying to do kind of like all of the things. And part of that is music. And I'm not like fully sure what to listen to. So she shared with me her holy playlist.
My Sunday songs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
I made you cry.
You did. It means so much to me because now that I really understand what it's like to be in a relationship with Creator, to share something like that, just like
the words have such heavy, powerful meaning.
Yeah.
In a good way. Yeah.
Well, and the fact that you curated it and were willing to share something like that with me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then like to like put the cherry on top, Lindsay also is an amazing singer. She is.
I appreciate you.
And she sent me a recording she did of a short song, a hymn.
A hymn.
The
first verse of a hymn. Long time ago. I'm talking, this was like 15 years ago that I recorded this thing. Oh. And I remember I had it on my phone and now it's in your possession.
It just sounds like love and like a very like motherly presence that it like held me in the moment that I heard it.
Good.
And do you think that we could play it for our listeners?
I think we should let that be the end of the episode. So stick around and we'll add the song in the hymn at the end of the episode and you guys can hear my musical abilities.
Yay! Oh my gosh. Wait, I can't wait until the end of the episode.
Well, yeah, so we have both been doing eating and drinking over the past couple weeks because what else do you do around the holidays besides spend times with family and eat and drink all the food? So how does that affect you spiritually? We've got a lot of topics. But first, I want to know, do you have any favorite foods that you look forward to around the holidays?
Oh my gosh. That is a good question. Yes. Yes. Far too many. I just have so many flooding my mind. Mm-hmm. My family's like bounced all over the place in terms of what we make for the holidays. So I'm not like I have to have a casserole kind of girl.
Okay.
I'm now much more of like, did we all participate and did we all make it from scratch? Mm-hmm. And is it locally sourced? Because that was what will resonate best with my body.
Right.
I'm really into the idea of doing like a homemade spaghetti, short rib, like sauce, like all day on the stove, simmer pot style gravy situation and homemade bread. It's not traditional, but
you can make it. If you always cook that around Christmas, then it's a Christmas tradition.
Yeah.
Just because it's spaghetti doesn't mean it has to.
Yeah. That's right. I can start one this year.
Yeah, I love it.
What about you?
So, two really come to mind. My uncle always makes these poached lemon pears, and they are so simple, but I love them. And I look forward to eating them every year. Just recently, he shared the recipe with me, so I might get brave enough to try it out myself. But you know, some things you eat, and they're so delicious, made by someone else, that you don't want to try and replicate it in fear of it not being as good, and then you kind of like mess up your memory of it.
Yeah.
So I'm a little nervous about the pears, but I love those. They remind me of the holidays. And then my parents' neighbor makes these brownies that are out of this world. They're a brownie, but they have German chocolate icing in the middle.
Oh my gosh.
And she cooks them perfectly. And I look forward to that every year.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Can you send one up?
I am trying my best to, limit all the sweets that I eat around the holidays. But those, two at a time.
No, indulge.
I do it.
Yum.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned you look for homemade, locally sourced. Mm-hmm. Why is that important? Why is that something that we need to look out for or will feel better to us versus the store-bought?
It's the concept of ancestral eating and getting back to that way of eating that our body is designed to eat. Our bodies are designed to eat in season, and we're designed to eat the produce and the meat from the animals who live in the same environment as us. I mean, ideally, we'd go back to like our genetics and DNA and see where our body is meant to live, but we place ourselves all over the place. So the next best option is really supporting our local community and our bodies by eating from food from local farmers.
And what if you do that sometimes, but not all the time? Is that still going to make an impact or?
Oh yeah, it'll make an impact. I said that's a good start.
Yeah.
But I think it's less, oh, I'm just going to start buying local. It's more of I'm going to really deeply connect with the reason why I want to start buying local and making homemade food from scratch. And then so it's less like a fad diet trending situation and more of like a spiritual intention? Shift. Yeah, inside of you that's like, this is the way I want to live now.
I gotcha.
And participate in my food and my body.
Yeah. Because I am starting to understand food is fuel for your body. What is fuel? Fuel is energy. And energy has like the life force within it, which speaks directly to the spiritual connection.
Yeah.
So if you're fueling your body with food that has a lower life force, then you're not really fueling your body and your spirit either when you're eating it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
They talk a lot about this in Ayurvedic medicine, where you can actually evaluate the life force. So if you have experience in reading energy, like if you've done like a Reiki class, you can actually put your hands over like a piece of meat or vegetable and feel its life force. You should be able, you should be able to feel it. It should be tangible.
Yeah.
Food that has higher life force is food that's like directly right out of the ground. So like food that is older or has been packaged up and sprayed and shipped.
Lots of processes.
Like you're eating something with like 10% life force. Like you're only getting the physical benefits of it and you're not getting the spiritual benefits. Also, you're disconnected from the process of going outside in the fresh air, looking at the tree that it came from and touching it and pulling it down and like ripping that spiritual umbilical cord and eating it right away. Yeah. That is like the way we are intended to eat, which goes back to what we were talking about before of eat like right from your yard.
Like you can tell the difference of when you buy a peach on a stand on the side of the road versus when you open a can of peaches and eat it. It's not the same. It feels different if you pay attention to these things. Especially, I think this concept is somewhat difficult when you don't have a compare and contrast. But when you start thinking about that, you can really feel, oh, I see this particular item that's way closer to source, to earth, reacts differently in my body. My body reacts differently to it and my energy.
Absolutely. You eat like this for one day, I promise you're going to feel a difference. Like you should be able to get to the point where you can feel like I can sense whether or not, if I order a hamburger, I know whether or not this cow was abused or not. Like I know whether it lived a happy, loved life.
Yeah. And
that is so important because the lives of animals matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, I want to do that.
You totally can. You're so gifted too.
Well, but I do feel like some of these concepts, even though I might not be fully aware of what the cow was feeling, I still know deep down something in me recognizes this version of it is the better version.
Yes.
So you might not necessarily know the how and the why and if the cow was happy or sad if you're just starting out on this. But if you just listen to that little guidance, like this one's the better one, go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Listening to your body. Like your body's on your team and your body is an ancestral being of this planet that we're visiting.
Yeah, it is so cool.
Like it is in your best interest to listen to it.
I try to do that with like when I don't know what I want to eat. I do like really try and settle and let my mind be quiet and then let my body say whatever it has to say. Sometimes it surprises me.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, sometimes it's like beef jerky.
Like, okay, protein.
Protein.
Where this comes through really strong is during pregnancy. Like the cravings get like pretty serious. Also, you know, during my period, I always, well, first of all, during ovulation, I always want a cheeseburger. I'm not sure what that means, but at least I know when I'm ovulating when that cheeseburger craving comes. But
it's a cheeseburger week.
Yeah, it's a cheeseburger week, cheeseburger day. But when I am menstruating, I always want like red meat because blood. I'm losing blood, so I want to intake blood. Similarly, when I was pregnant with Alba, I think I was mineral deficient because all I would tell like my family, I was like, I want to roll around naked in the dirt and eat dirty carrots. Like that's what I want.
That's a big one. And your body knows.
Your body knows.
And the body will translate and your mind will pick up the signals and translate it into the thoughts to guide you of what to eat.
Yeah.
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 So homemade versus store-bought. So what if someone is making it, but they're still kind of using like a canned good here, a little bit of a low quality life force here. Are they still able to infuse good intentions and love into that food to when they serve it to you, that it kind of like helps the life force? Like, how does that work?
Yes. So an ingredient that we often don't think about is love and intention. Like when you look at the holism of cooking, it's not just like I have the ingredients on my counter, I'm going to assemble them. It's where did they come from? Who picked them? Why am I making them? Who am I making them for? And do I enjoy the process? So like when you go to restaurants and you have a staff in the kitchen who hate their jobs, all that like ick is an ingredient in your food. It's going to lower the vibrational quality of the food. So let's say you're at home and your family doesn't use, you know, locally sourced food, but they cook with a lot of love. That balances some of it out.
Yeah. You can feel the love and benefit from the love energy just as much as the life force. Man, could all the things coming together, you would just eat like the best meal ever if somebody cooked for me for like from their farm.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh. It was, very, very good.
I'll also say that the state of your being and self while you're eating the food also is an ingredient.
Yeah.
So like if you are calm and connected and in community and happy and joy, your body is going to digest the food better. It's almost like you're putting on a shield of happiness of like, which is high frequency before you eat.
Yeah.
And then if you add a prayer on top of that and say, please, body, absorb the food and nutrients that I need and easily discard the rest, your body hears that.
That's exactly where I was going to ask about next.
Oh, nice.
What about blessings of food? Because blessings are more of a religious practice, right? But what is it really doing when you're blessing food?
Yeah. So the power of prayer is really important. And I would say it's like a spiritual practice as well. And so I think we've talked about in previous podcasts that the best way to work with the metaphysical is through intention. When you have an intention, like you set a purpose for whatever it is that you're doing and you're eating,
right?
You create a field, which is like a container for the action to come in and to sift through.
Okay.
So if you set a really high frequency container, like through prayer or through gratitude or intention, it's like a filter. It buffers things, and it works.
Yeah. I realized that when I had been doing prayers, you know, blessing the food, asking God to come into, what I feel like I'm doing really for myself is less about making the food or making God do something, but refocusing all of my energy towards like pulling that intention. So the prayer, I am going to start trying to look at it as this is just as much about me refocusing as it is putting out energy to thank someone or bring someone else closer, because that really puts your intention front and center. So you're creating those containers, like you said.
I think what you said closes out like the entire like holistic life cycle of food, from like the actual physical food to like to prayer. So the physical to metaphysical, that closes the loop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so all kinds of food exist in this world. Sweet, sour, savory, high calorie, low calorie, store-bought, homemade. But what about sugar? Because sugar is so delicious, but so deadly. And how are we supposed to navigate eating sugar?
Yeah. So our bodies actually aren't meant to eat that much sugar.
Right.
And doctors have been saying that forever.
Right.
We are meant to eat honey and figs.
Interesting.
So that's a great replacement.
So
Honey's-
sweet sources
Yes.
are different than sugar.
Yes. So when your body consumes white sugar, what happens is that everything inside of you kind of goes to sleep. Like it makes you dull. Have you ever heard of spiritual dullards?
No.
Like that's kind of a term in the spiritual community.
I don't know what that is. Okay.
So sugar makes you're just not as sharp. You're not catching things as easily. It takes you off your game. It can make you feel depressed. And I don't really know what to tell you. It tastes really good. But then you're like, oh, I feel terrible about this. Life is difficult. I'm not sure if I'm going to be successful. Like you start to spiral.
Right.
It pulls you down. It makes you question yourself. And after a while, you feel hopeless. And you don't realize it's the sugar. You just end up in this like cycle of a negative dopamine a hamster wheel.
We all know the jitters, like the sugar high, the sugar rush. And I think it's really unpleasant because my heart starts racing. I can't focus, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the, what would you call it? The spiritual dole?
Oh, the dullards.
The dullards. Your body just kind of like into one, and you have no ability to focus or really feel anything else.
That's like the twist in sugar, I would say. Is like sugar itself isn't a bad thing. It's the behavior around sugar that's the temptation.
Right.
And that's where having a strong spiritual foundation, which is like, in this case, a relationship with yourself, because that
Right.
falls under the pillar of spiritual health.
Right.
If you have a strong relationship with yourself and spirit, you are in a position of wanting to care for yourself. You know, that part of you is balanced out. So
Right.
you're going to say, it's easy for me to say no to sugar for these multiple reasons because I choose to prioritize myself.
Yes. Well, sugar and emotions,
Oh yeah, hand in hand.
they're interlinked, right? Because it
Yeah.
is emotions are created by chemicals. Food that we eat makes our body respond by producing certain chemicals. So therefore, food can create these emotions. And some of these emotions are addicting. And
Oh, yes.
if you know that you are sad and you're trying to figure out how to change your emotional state, your body, your brain will say, "Oh, remember that thing? That'll do it." But it will go away. It's like a quick fix.
It's like shopping.
It's a little bit, it's a little bit of like insincere solution. I think a lot of the times when I'm trying to figure out, okay, why am I craving this
Yeah.
sweet, sugar, chocolate, whatever? Is it because I want to feel differently? Or is it because I actually just really want to eat this?
Yeah. And I think there can be a time when your body just does need sugar, and that's totally fine,
Right.
especially if it's made with love and it's a tradition. All of that outweighs like any sort of diet situation. But when we look at where is like the negative frequency, like where's the temptation in sugar, we have to remember that the highest source would never plant a seed of like temptation like that within us. So
Right.
automatically, when we're thinking, wait a second, why am I feeling so tempted by sugar? You have to ask where that's coming from and where do I stand with it? Because this is kind of where Satan comes in. He'll be like, go ahead, have another. No one's watching. Just one more. He's so good. You have to think like, is that really me?
Yeah, where's that voice coming
That's
from?
right. And what am I going to choose? Which side am I going to be on? We should question, how were we ultimately by source created and designed to consume food? When we go and eat, it's supposed to be something that we do in community. It's supposed to be shared. It's supposed to be communal.
Break bread
Everyone
together.
brings something. Everyone comes together. That is when our body responds the best to eating.
Interesting.
It's
Okay.
in celebration. It's in gratitude. Then you think, man, let me just go eat these chips by myself. That's not what source is wants for you. You know, that's not what God is telling you to do.
Okay.
So you need to question, hold on a second, before I go like sneak a cookie, where is that coming from?
Right. Another thing about sugar is too much sugar. They show up in your stomach, in your gut, in your skin. Our bodies, like you said, aren't really designed to process all of that very well. If you can start looking at it as a clue instead of an annoyance and be grateful for it, I think that also helps you get into the mindset of being able to say, no, thank you. I don't need this. I'm going to stop it so that my body doesn't have to deal with it.
Same thing happens when you overeat. Is you it just creates a lot of chaos. Like your body has only so much capacity for processing. So if you're someone who's working on spiritual gifts, if you're deepening your relationship with God, if you're trying to be conscious around your children, you're trying to like, just be conscious with yourself in general and be present.
Yeah.
If you start shoving food in your body, like a large percentage of that attention is going to be like, well, now we have to go focus on all this.
Process all this
There's so
food
much
paperwork.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like there's so much stuff going on in here. Like we can't do this over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have capacity for other things, other spiritual things to come in, other thoughts. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Let's talk about alcohol. Alcohol is such a big part of our society. Can you be spiritual and still drink alcohol?
Yes.
What a question that doesn't have a straight answer, right?
I mean, it does and it doesn't. According to the Bible, it draws a very clear distinction that wine is permitted, but liquor is like not super encouraged. That's just not the way God intended us to behave. But wine is very spiritual. So I think what it comes down to is red wine is like the healthiest, and it actually can help with our digestion.
Jesus did turn water into wine.
Yes.
It is a biblical, documented.
Yeah. It goes all the way back to Adam and Eve, actually, because there were vineyards in Eden.
And very true.
God isn't going to strike you down for having like a single martini, but if you have 5, you know what he's going to call you?
What?
A worthless vine.
Oh.
Isn't that horrible?
Yeah.
There's so much scripture about vineyards and the owners of the vineyard and the people of Israel being compared to vines. And there's one line where God calls Israel a worthless vine. Like, can you imagine?
That is such an insult.
I know.
Yeah.
So someone plants a good vine and expects fruit, and they expect something good to come out of it, and instead gets nothing. So God is basically says, that's you. You're a worthless vine.
Interesting.
So it comes down to the intention.
Yeah.
If you are drinking in celebration, devotion, gratitude, that's fine. But if you're drinking to escape, again, it's the behavior. If you're drinking to escape, that's when you need to be really careful. And that will, the worst thing about doing that is that it will completely disconnect you from anything spiritual.
Right.
You're just a worthless vine.
Yeah. My relationship with alcohol has evolved in many ways over the years, right? Like I drank through college. I've definitely had my very, very painful morning after out partying. But alcohol for me was actually kind of a good thing because I did feel like it sort of allowed my personality to open up. And maybe I would have gotten there otherwise. But I do feel like it showed me a different side of myself that as time went on and as I had more experiences and got stronger, I was able to fully integrate without alcohol. I feel like at this point in my life, I really pay attention to the way alcohol affects my body because I want to treat my body with so much care and so much love. And the idea of using alcohol to excess to hurt this temple? No, I don't want to do that anymore, right? And it is so challenging because alcohol, it takes your emotions of where you are in the moment and it kind of amplifies them. So if you're having a good time, it kind of goes, you can have even a better time if you keep drinking. And then you're 5 in and you're like, oh, I'm worthless vine. Worthless vine status. It's hard. It's hard. I just want to acknowledge that. Alcohol is, I think it can get very vilified. Obviously, a lot of people struggle with their relationship with alcohol, knowing when to stop, turning into a completely different person. That's really, really challenging. Having your own personal relationship with alcohol evolve and change. It's never too late to start over. It's never too late to try something new, make different decisions. Alcohol is in our society, and I don't think it's something that we need to be afraid of, right? Because there's also a lot of guilt associated with drinking because there's a lot of messages out there saying, you should never do it. It's evil. It's this, it's that. So knowing that it is something that we can partake in and still be spiritual as long as we're mindful of how it's affecting us, I think is a really good message to get out there, because we don't have to feel bad for our choices. And I also feel like whenever I've been in a worse place emotionally, that alcohol use has actually made that worse in the end. Mm-hmm. All my emotions spew out eventually. and it wouldn't be very pretty.
Yeah, I would say that not a lot of good decisions are made under the influence. But I mean, I would agree that alcohol isn't the enemy. It's the intention that matters.
Exactly.
And then behind that is really, where's your spiritual orientation? Like, are you lost in drinking to numb? So alcohol does not affect all people the same.
Yes.
Most people can't drink alcohol without it affecting them spiritually. It affects the brain differently for various people. For some, it hits the area of the brain where there is an ability to use good judgment. And for others, it distorts their perception of time, either speeding it up or slowing it down. And then for other people, it makes them do the exact opposite of what they really need to do. Yes. On top of that, we need to have the awareness of what the energetic signature of alcohol is, because it is a distorted frequency. So it invites discoherence and distortion into our bodies. And you want to make that decision very consciously, which is why the drinking and celebration and like kind of like the worship that goes along with drinking red wine around a holiday, it's kind of like the protection from that. Yes. But if you're, again, just like I'm gonna eat a bag of chips for myself, if you're gonna go home and drink alone, yeah, that's just a tender place.
It is. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I do think one thing that helped me reshape my relationship with alcohol, because I felt like there was a seed in me that I knew I wanted to do less, consume less. I didn't like how I was behaving. I didn't like how I was feeling. I didn't like the hangovers. And so I needed to figure out logical reasons to kind of shore up my conviction of how to not drink less. How do I do this? How do I make this decision? I saw this thing that the liver, our bodies are beautifully designed, perfect machines to deal with this physical world that we live in. The liver is our processor of all the toxins that we're exposed to, whether it be chemicals that we consume through our food, through our environments, and alcohol. But what happens when you drink alcohol is it constantly cuts the line. Your body knows, I need to immediately get this guy out of here because it's going crazy. So if you're constantly drinking alcohol and constantly cutting the line of all the tasks and chemicals and toxins that the liver has to filter out, eventually all these toxins, some of them just kind of absorb into your system and they just leave the line and they're kind of take a permanent residence. So if you're leaving alcohol out of the equation, your body has the ability to function better, to process out more of the other natural toxins in your environment.
Yeah, decreasing the amount of like chaos and busyness, paperwork that there is to do, because eventually you reach a point in your spiritual maturity where you want to leave. You start to like get a sense of what it's like to be so connected with yourself and be in alignment that you want to leave that channel open. Like it's really not worth doing the distraction things. Exactly.
Another thing that really helped me was, a lot of people use alcohol to warm up in social situations, right? When I first started drinking, that was kind of what I was doing, right? I'm naturally introverted. I didn't know what to do or say. But if I drank alcohol, all these words started coming out of my mouth. And I was funny. And people were like, oh, hey. But what I realized is that initial discomfort that you feel when you're first in a situation and you're like, oh, I need a drink. That is actually a phenomenon that will naturally go away on its own after about 30 minutes. If you're in a social gathering and you've really gone there and you don't want to drink, and as soon as you get there, check the time. If you have 30 minutes, let yourself reevaluate after 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you probably will feel a lot more comfortable, and the urge to take the edge off with alcohol will dissipate greatly.
I've experienced social anxiety as well, like for a good chunk of my life, and not anymore. And so we look at what's the truth under what's happening. Like, why are you having the social anxiety? And it's always tied to authenticity. It means like maybe your full authentic self isn't quite out yet. And like, you really just need to go live more life to learn more about who you are. And there's nothing wrong with you if you experience that. It's literally, it's more of a game of me and myself versus me and the people I'm around, because you kind of like try different hats on of versions of who you are until you're like, that's her. Yeah. Keeping that one, tossing the rest.
Yep. Isn't it wild when you reframe and you think differently, and then it affects your decisions and it's helpful?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, totally. I think a really cool question is, what is the big, tough lesson alcohol is here to teach people right now in today's society?
Yeah.
One is that you can be held accountable for your decisions you've made, even under the influence. A lot of people drink to be like, oh, I'm going to go cheat on someone, but I was drunk.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not how it works. Two, being drunk never results in good decision making. That's a hard truth to come around to. And three, when you are committed to being of service, when you work for God, you're on call all the time. So how could you be drunk?
You're clouding your ability to be present, be a clear channel.
Yeah, to literally perform your highest purpose, which, by the way, your highest purpose would make you so happy, you probably wouldn't want to drink that much alcohol.
Yeah.
So like,
It's crazy. That shift to trust that there is more fun on the other side of alcohol. Because I'm not going to lie to you, alcohol, I've had some fun times.
oh my gosh, try being naturally happy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But it is so true that you have access to that high, that energy all the time.
All the time.
You don't need alcohol to access it.
Yeah.
And if you start looking for people, start asking universe, God, to show you people that have that you can, kind of ride their coattails and enjoy it, you will find them.
I want to talk about, too, what energetic state are you trying to create by using alcohol? This just reminds me of all the times in my life when my alcohol drinking has gone up. They've been in times where I feel like my capacity to deal with my life, whatever I was in my everyday living sober consciousness, it was tapped out.
Yeah.
And I was desperate because I had children and I was in a relationship. Yeah. And just like life and laundry and stuff and everything. And I was like, I have no more room.
Yeah.
I have no more room anymore. And so when I would drink alcohol, I'd be like, oh, there's room up here. And that's not a spiritual tool, but that's the best I could do at the time.
Yeah.
And so often, like, it is a journey because alcohol is like one of the biggest temptations that there is. One of the spiritual truths about what energetic state people are trying to create in today's society right now by using alcohol. So most people drink subconsciously to create dullness. And this is like not something we're like thinking about. Like, I'm going to go drink to be dull. Meet you there,
I can't handle this right now, so I'm just going to close the curtains.
Yeah, it's a very subconscious thing. And dullness makes you less aware, less reactive, able to see less clearly. Because if you weren't dull, the thing is, you might figure out that so much of what we're told in the world right now are lies.
Yeah, we have to face a lot of uncomfortable truths.
Yeah. And I think like that truth is kind of swimming around everywhere because there's a lot of bad stuff happening. And like confronting it feels daunting. And that's like one of the biggest escapisms that we use alcohol for. The other thing is that you might also realize that you might be able to rebel against those lies, which holds you accountable, revs you up. What do I do? How do I do that? And when you're dull, you just go along with it. You go with the herd, that herd mentality that I kind of feel like the government wants us to do, you know, like the systems.
Yeah.
So the deeper layer behind why many people drink, and this is a very large group of people. So escaping themselves, escaping discomfort, avoiding clarity, following the status quo, peer pressure, wanting to turn off, and all of it traces back to the same root, a subconscious desire to numb and to not feel.
Yeah. When I think about some of the reasons I've used alcohol, I kind of feel like sometimes there's energy and emotions in me that I know I want out in a big way, but I don't know how to let them out consciously, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's so
you
honest.
go out and go on a bender and you can do anything you want because you're like your normal restrictions, you're unbuckled, right? You're able to do and release and say things, cause commotions. Like, how many times do we know people that are just running their mouths? And why are they doing that? Right? Like, are those emotions that they have inside them that they don't know how to get out in a more healthy way? Right? So you might get them out, find a little bit of a release when you don't have all the, alcohol lets you be more free. But the way that you're releasing them and processing them isn't actually very effective.
Yeah. Because, well, I think what's happening there is that you're not healing, you're just emptying your tank.
Yes.
So let's say your tank gets full of all of the stuff, like the emotions, but the door that lets them in is still there. So when you go get drunk, you empty the bucket, but the door remains the same. So it's just going to keep refilling and refilling.
That's
you need
so
to be in a
true.
conscious state to be like, what is this door and how do I close it?
Yeah. How can I empty the bucket and plug the hole? And I also want to say, you can still be so social and you can still be around alcohol and not have to feel pressure to drink. And if you are feeling that way, maybe it's a good time to figure out why. Where is it coming from? Is it coming from me inside, or is it coming from outside, who I'm surrounding myself with? And both of those questions, it could be both at the same time, right? But I think that they both have two different courses of action as far as solutions.
When I was pregnant and then breastfeeding, I literally didn't drink for a year and a half.
Wow.
And at first, it was hard. But I didn't. I just didn't at all. And I really, that lesson, I learned it. I was like, wow, I can show up and have a great time. And it changed me, actually. It made me, even to this day, I really just don't like regular chit chat. I actually don't like parties and usually don't go because I like, if we're hanging out, we're getting deep. Like, that's just who I am and what I like.
Yeah.
So I almost can't stand it. Oh yeah. And have you ever had a friend or a friend group and someone in there just doesn't drink and they do great and everyone else is drinking
It's
and
so
it always,
inspiring to me.
it's like a mirror to me. I'm like, wait, can I do that? Yeah.
They can do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
I can figure that out. And the people that you have around you, that if they're saying you need to drink to be fun, ooh, that's tough.
Temptation station.
Yeah,
Which side
that's
are you
tough.
on?
That's tough. Because I don't have a problem with people that are out. Everybody is making their own choices and they're offering me a drink. That's kind of just a social thing to do.
Yeah.
If I say no, the people that I keep in my life, I expect them to say, oh, cool, no problem.
Yeah. Seltzer.
Yeah.
Water. Yeah.
I got this for you if you want.
Yeah.
And if you start paying attention to the way people respond to your choices and then how often you have to defend them, or rather, are they being honored, you will have a very different view of certain people and how you want to spend your time.
Yeah, and just like where they are with that journey too. Like I have family members who drink a lot.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's like just not good or bad. It just is what it is. And it just gives me a greater understanding about them.
Yeah.
Like, so where I am with this, because I've also been like, I feel like, whoa, I've had this season of drinking way too much. I didn't drink at all. And I am spiritually trying to tee myself up for success in the way I want to live in the future. I don't put any pressure on myself for this to be like no diet aspect. I really am anti-diet. It's like a holistic shift has to happen within myself to find a balance with drinking.
Yeah.
And I am the only one that can define that for myself.
Right.
And so where I am with it now is I'm thinking like, I think I want to mostly stick to wine.
Okay.
With an occasional cocktail, which,
Yeah.
and I need to be drinking in celebration of something. And there's zero pressure if I like don't do that, it's okay, because that just means there's a part of me that like isn't quite ready to take on that level of peace or that I need, but I know that I can work on it.
I think that's a really great way to approach it, is that you put some structure out there for you to try, for you to follow. And that helps you make decisions that you know you're going to be proud of, and to get in a mindset of detox, even like a 4-day detox, especially during the holidays. It's hard, man. You got these parties of, I've had 1 or more drinks past 7 days.
I move through my life wholesomely. Like I know a season of drinking is coming.
Yeah.
And I'm going to drink in celebration.
Yeah.
And like, that's great.
Yeah.
And that's literally, that's it. And I know
feel
that when my
guilty.
body's like, cool it, I'll just cool it. It's like, it's literally, it can be that simple. Also, if you're working on your spiritual gifts, alcohol greatly impacts your spiritual gifts. So like oftentimes if I have a client the following day, I won't drink the night before. So I can be really clear for them.
Yeah.
That's something else to consider.
Your vibration gets all crazy.
So, Lindsay, Lindsay, is it time to listen to your recording?
I think it's time. We'll send you all off into the new year with a little bit of me singing, and we look forward to the next episode.
Yay, thanks for joining. Here you go.
Bye.
My shepherd will supply my need. Jehovah is his name. In pastures fresh he makes me feed, beside the living stream. He brings my wandering spirit back when I forsake his ways, and leads me for his mercy's sake in paths of truth and grace.